Time now for Budget for investors are keeping a close watch on how indirect taxes would look at the entire cement sector. Will they get a relief or not if the boost is indeed coming in for manufacturing? We've got Puneet Dalmia of Dalmia Cements, and we've also got Prateek Jain of KPMG joining us. Gentlemen, thanks for being on the show. Prateek, to start with you, do you think investors of cement companies would actually expect a big boost for manufacturing that could translate itself into perhaps some good news for companies like Dalmia Cement and other cement sector firms?
I think there is certainly a case for some boost to the cement sector, and there are 2-3 reasons for that. First is that if you look at the duty structure on cement, the excise duty is flat at the rate of 8% without any abatement on grey cement, and it has been a long-standing demand of industry to kind of give some abatement, thereby reducing the excise duty rate. So that is the first demand. The second is on reimposition of custom duty on imported cement. Some time back it was removed because there was clearly a shortage of cement in India, and now because there is a capacity which is being created, there is a demand that there should be a custom duty of at least 10% on import of cement from outside, and we have seen that import from countries like Pakistan has shown an increasing trend in the recent past. Then there are other demands as well in terms of freight subsidy and so on and so forth. However, my main sort of concern is that if you look at the fiscal deficit situation, the finance minister is walking a very tight rope, and they collect around 10,000 crores of excise duty from cement. So at this point in time, unless they are quite convinced that the reduction in duty will essentially result into a huge jump in demand, and therefore they'll be able to make up the duty shortfall, they might not be inclined to change the rate. Although I'm quite hopeful on the reimposition of custom duty on imported cement, so it should be slightly positive for the sector in my view.
Right. On the ground, how do you interpret this entire cement story from a budget point of view, Puneet Dalmia?
We've already said that cement is heavily taxed, and we've asked the government to examine the abatement issue. We've also told the government that if any benefit in excise duty is given to us, we will pass that on to the customer. So we believe that if the abatement between 35 and 55%, 55% is the number which was recommended by an NCAER study, the prices will come down by about 7 to 10 rupees a bag, and we are willing to pass that benefit on. The other issue that we have requested the government is that while there is no import duty on cement, there is an import duty on coal which is about 5%. So we've asked the government to re-examine this import duty issue because there is no import duty on finished goods while there is an import duty on raw material. So while we are willing to compete on a level playing field with any global player in this country, I think this anomaly needs to be re-examined. The third issue is that a lot of new capacity is coming into the market. We have all invested, the industry has invested about 50,000 crores to bring in 100 million tons of supply into the market over 3 years. And if infrastructure programs could be accelerated in terms of removing bottlenecks with respect to approvals, land acquisitions, environmental permits, etc., I think that will help in ensuring that all the new supply which is coming in gets absorbed in the market.
Having said that, let me ask you, Puneet, do you actually think that the government could come and sort of help restoring coal linkages for the cement sector? Could the SOPs or some sort of cushioning come in from these angles? The supply chain setup for cement could be eased?
I think it can be done, but the government is also facing a very genuine problem with respect to demand of coal from the power sector. For this problem to get solved, Coal India has to increase its production substantially, and given the labor laws and it's a one player regime in the coal sector, this poses a problem in terms of execution time. So there is huge demand with respect to coal, power, steel, cement, or our captive consumers, and government is trying to do a balancing act to ensure that everybody remains equally happy or equally unhappy. So there is a balancing act which is being performed currently, and I think priority is being given to the power sector. So the cement linkages have been cut from 100% to 75%, and coal blocks allotment has also gotten delayed. So our view is that this problem cannot be sorted out in the short term despite best efforts and best intentions, but in the medium term, if there is a proper policy regime, this problem will get sorted out. So in the short term, I think we have to live with this problem, but in the long term, we have requested the government to look at a accelerated allotment of coal blocks and linkages to captive consumers as opposed to traders, and I think government is looking into it very, very seriously.
Let's get an independent view, outside the industry view, from Prateek. Prateek, one side is the supply chain linkages, the other side is some taxes that we discussed with you. Let's get specific into things like VAT. Do you think that there could be a reduction on that? And in terms of just the excise duty of 8%, there's been talk that there wouldn't be any tinkering, there certainly won't be anything lowered, it could probably remain at this level.
Yeah, first to cover the excise duty, I think government would do well to in fact continue with the existing rate. I don't see any possibility of rate reduction at all in general and in particular for cement sector. I think if they continue with the 8%, I think it will be a very good move, and it is desirable because still manufacturing is slowing down. If you look at the first quarter results, it has gone down by 1.4%. If you look at April numbers, it has only gone up by 0.8% or so. So it's still a lot of confidence which needs to be built up in manufacturing. So certainly, I mean, I don't see a possibility of reduction, but it would be best for the industry if they continue with the existing rate. As far as VAT is concerned, really VAT per se is not part of the budget exercise. The industry has been demanding that cement should be accorded a declared good status, which basically would mean that no state would be able to collect VAT at the rate of more than 4%, which is there for, say, cement or for steel or for crude for that matter. I don't think there is any very serious discussion going on cement being declared as declared goods. So I'll be very surprised if that happens in this budget as far as VAT is concerned. But if status quo on excise duty is maintained, I think it will be very positive for the sector.
Thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate, gentlemen, for being on the show. Power Lunch, of course, is tracking every developing story, including the tie-up between Alcatel and Reliance Community.